Hello, I'm Harry Smith III. I'd like you to know a little bit about my life. Now that you know the ancestors of the Smith and Ashley family from Africa to slavery Thursday, Jim Crow and civil rights to 2023. That was in the age of Pisces. We're in a new age today. Today we're in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is the age of information, and in this age you will become the kings and queens that we once were before. But you know what we have to do to get here. Now that you know what we went through, because if anybody had not made it you would not be here, so you have it in you to survive today. You can be anything that you want to be. Now is the time for you to be the king and queens that we once were. In the next few segments I'm going to explain to you and show you pictures of things that my life story is going to mention, so you can see kind of what I was talking about. This is New York's Old Village Gate in Greenwich Village, New York, where I had drinks with Lou Rawls and Dizzy Gillespie. Google them. When I invited them to my table at the intermission of their show. This is what New York clam chowder look like. This is the Muslim restaurant that I went to in Chicago, where I had the most fantastic meal that perhaps I've ever had, and was treated better than at any restaurant I've ever been to before. This is inside that restaurant in Chicago. This is New York City, where everybody lives in an apartment. This is Seekonk, Massachusetts, where we used to stay at the Hearthstone Motor Inn all the time. Right outside of Providence, Rhode Island, where Mr. Alcon's son was attending Brown University. This is the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is in the Wisconsin Dells, where they had a replica of Sherwood Forest. If you remember your history, that's where the character Robin Hood used to hang out. This shows that Lake Michigan is one of the Great Lakes, and the different states that it touches, or that touches it. This is the Howard Theater in Washington, D.C., where all the black folks used to go to watch the old great rock and roll shows. It was part of the Chitlins circuit, like the Apollo. All the great acts went there. We used to go and watch the great shows. Ike and Tina Turner, the Supremes, the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Little, Stevie Wonder, everybody. Philadelphia had the Uptown, New York had the Apollo, Washington, D.C. had the Howard Theater. Chicago had the Regal. All the big cities had great auditoriums where all the blacks to go and watch all the great black shows. This is like the Hereford cow that I raised and took to the fair that the white guy from Woodcrest Farms gave me to raise. I like to say thank you to him and his family. I'll never forget you. This is Plymouth Rock in Plymouth, Massachusetts, the rock that the Pilgrims stepped on when they was getting off the ship when they came to the new country America. This is my daughter, Charlene, Deborah, and I with President Reagan when we went to Washington, D.C. That's a cardboard cutout of President Reagan in front of the White House that we took a picture with. Notice it's in black and white. This is George Washington, our first president's house, in Mount Vernon, Virginia. If you look close you can see my daughter Charlene standing next to the pole standing up. This is John Fitzgerald Kennedy and his wife at their Hyannis Port, Massachusetts, summer home. This is my 1969 Pontiac Grand Prix that I drove cross-country. I drove it from Pennsylvania to California and from California to Massachusetts, all over the place. Love that car. That's what I bought when Alfreda left with the GTO. This is the car I took to Las Vegas to divorce Suzietta Hearn. I drove there together when we got the divorce, of course. This is like the 1954 or 55 Kaiser that Mr. Spigner had. This is like the Buick that we took back in 1958, to my grandfather's funeral in Oklahoma. The other one that I have in the video is a dark color black, but this one, it was just like this one, it was gray in color. Sleeping on the floor for years later I can still hear that old Buick Dynaflow transmission, humming, as we drove, cross country. Now enjoy my life story. Take your time, it's about 9 hours long. I tried to give you as much as I could.